This meeting of the Willamette Public Library Board is called to order. We're being recorded, so our roll call, Tyler Crook, here. Jennifer Eccles.
Here.
Kipola Napoleon.
Here.
Emily Sims.
Here.
Kat Lundquist.
Here.
And introducing for the first time at the Willamette Library Board meeting, Chris Dar. You're supposed to say present.
Here.
After that introduction, I should have said.
Please speak here for the record.
Oh, here. Oh,
Yeah.
thank
I'll
you.
be direct.
Thank you.
There.
We'll have to start over, I think. Robin Onstadt,
Excused absence,
Counselor Vicky Hernandez,
excused absence,
Sarah Frost,
here,
Richard Guscott.
Excused absence, present.
That will do it. Is there anything we want to address or change before we get started to the agenda?
No.
We have one no, so we can carry on. So unless anyone has anything to change or add, we'll go ahead and just approve the meeting minutes for both February 20th and for March 19th. If you remember last month, the minutes were not quite ready, so we did not approve, or not last month, but the month before that.
Yeah.
We didn't approve for February.
I would motion that we approve the minutes for February 20th, 2024 and March 19th, 2024.
Any second?
Second.
All right, let's do it. Approved. All right, so we'll start off with presentations. Sarah Frost and Richard Guscott, the Oregon Library Association Conference. That sounded like it was fun, huh?
it was a great time had by all. So Oregon Library Association Conference this year was held in Salem, which meant I finally got to go and I was able to bring Richard along with me. But I wanted to be able to take a few minutes and let each of us just recap for you all what we got most out of attending. But I'm gonna let Richard go first.
Oh, you want me to go first? Oh
Yeah,
my
because
God.
my stuff's high level boring stuff. And you're
Okay.
fun stuff.
So I'm good. Like I wrote a ton of notes, so I'm actually going through probably roughly 20 pages of notes. I think we had a really good time. I focused a lot on teen mental health and attended a library internship, teen internship panel that was very interesting and learned a lot of cool program ideas. And I don't know if we want to speak to it yet, but I think that this year we're going to have some pretty cool ideas coming from our dream team here. And then I met with a couple of other fellow nerds at a theater troupe training, basically how to use theater troupe in the library to get community buy-in. And I had ironically talked to these women before the presentation, not realizing that they were going to be the ones presenting it. So we were just kind of like throwing ideas at each other and kind of realized that we're all doing the same thing. It's just I do mine with miniatures and they do theirs, Shakespeare. And the one who was doing this presentation was from Hillsborough and now has on average at their shows over 100 people attend. Yes, and it's all pretty much kid driven. So the kids will write, like their big hit is a skit where an old woman explains new technology to fellow old people. And it is written by like a fourth grader, but the teens act it out. And I guess it's just a big hit every year. Just little things like that, lots of little programming that gets the community invested and makes the teenagers feel seen and heard and like their ideas are appreciated. So it was just nice getting to talk with them, made some friends, and hopefully we'll have more to share in the future on that stuff. That's about it for me. Sarah, do you want to go into your more technical stuff? Are you ready? Or do you want me to like?
No, yeah, no, it's
I
good,
can riff for a little bit longer, because there was 13 ways to kill your library, which was also pretty fun.
which was a really cool
Um,
one too. You should share that one real quick. And even
So,
just highlight it.
Just kind of like focused on, in a very sarcastic tone, like what not to do in your library if you want it to be successful. I think it's really funny that we are doing a lot of these things, as I was writing them down, I'm like, oh. We're partnering with other communities, community members who have like their nonprofits.
Wait, these are the things that you do to kill your library?
Yeah, so you're like, they're saying, don't do this, so don't like help.
Help partner.
Yeah, don't partner up with anybody, don't invest in your youth, don't, like, you always know what's right, right? Like, my programming is the best, and we should never pivot from it,
Yeah.
or like, and, like, for example, I have to destroy Anu's anime club, because that's not what we're supposed to be doing on Saturdays. I shouldn't be giving her room for that, but, because that'll let the library grow and tell other teenagers to come in and nerd about. Yeah, yes, yeah, that's intimidating. I'm not gonna lie, that age group is the most frightening to me, like 6th to 8th grade. Nah, no, to 9th grade. Hit me up when you're a sophomore. But when the monster pubertus hits, that's where I wanna go. But like, don't ask curious questions. So like, I should have zero interest in the love our library. Sarah should obviously just like cut all of that off, because we don't need any community members, right? Coming up with ideas or building any fundraising ideas or anything. We don't need that. We have grants, and that's all we need. We don't need help. We don't need
Doesn't sound like we
volunteers.
won't be playing our library anytime soon.
Right, no, so none of these things are like things that we do, right? So it was just really funny and very tongue in cheek. The guy who was running it, or one of the two that was running it, talked a lot about how they were ahead of the game with getting budget cuts even before Salem was. And being like, how, you don't want anybody from the community invested, because then, you know, a mob may form, you know, to change those things. Seriously though, he was talking to when the budget gets cut at the library, if it's a good library, right, people will be like, well, frack, I would really like to be able to go in and use the computer and have somebody help me learn how to use the computer, as it's really annoying trying to navigate all of these things, or just countless examples, right, of things that we do here. Are you ready now?
Yeah.
I'm just like riffing here, I'm like, well,
Well, and the person who did this session was Patrick, who
Patrick,
is the library director at Independence Public Library.
Yes.
He's very knowledgeable. He's also served on as the president, I think, of the Association of Small Rural Libraries. I'm gonna apologize right now, you guys. I'm tired. I'm so sorry. My words may not come out very well right now. So it was phenomenal seeing a lot of leaders from our own cooperative holding sessions. McMinnville did a huge session at the conference. So my sessions I attended were so exciting. So library policies, went to a 3-hour training about library policies, and then piggybacked, on a couple of other sessions. Code of conduct is the big one, and it's the one everybody's talking about right now. And we talked a lot about, intellectual freedom and how that plays into library policies. So many notes and so many resources too. One of the intellectual freedom committee members was there and presented at a lot of these high-level policy sessions. And she is at, I think, the Deschutes Public Library, maybe. I'll have to look her up again. But they also brought in the lens of school libraries as well, so not just public libraries. We heard from the school libraries as well, and there's a lot of collaborating happening in communities. As we know, you know, I think it's great that we have our school district as part of our board, so we can stay ahead of any potential issues that would happen here or up there. Because they do tend to bleed over into each other. Got lots, so many. what else do I want to share with you guys? Not so much about policies, maybe when we get into the weeds more, when we start looking at some of collection development was the other policy that they talked a lot about too. The other session I went to that was really beneficial, I went ahead and went to the library boards 101. And not that it was. I'm glad I went because I did, it's interesting to hear when libraries have supportive library boards or when librarians have exactly the opposite. And we're seeing that a lot in cities across, well, the nation, but it's happening in Oregon too. So it was really interesting, and they had an attorney at that session as well who could talk a little bit about library boards and library board members and keeping them in their lane and how to do training. And I learned that the State Library of Oregon, they're hoping to have it ready by the fall, but they've been working really hard on putting together some training resources for library boards, which is something we haven't had here before. I have never taken the time to put together any kind of a welcome kit or any kind of orientation for board members. And now that we're to this level, I feel like that's really going to probably be the next step to keep this board always moving forward, regardless of who's sitting at the table, probably. But again, they talked a lot about what their role is versus what the library's role is and making sure they stay in their lane. And there's so many different kinds of library boards, you know, so ours is kind of more of a city appointed sideline board who makes recommendations. I like to think that this board actually is way more involved than that. But then there's governing library boards as well who have control over finances. And that can prove to sometimes be either beneficial or a challenge, depending on your relationship with your board. I learned that that citizens can sue the city if they think that board members aren't upholding the laws that they're held to, which got me thinking about in our charter when we updated it, we referred to a lot of Oregon law in our charter, and just making sure, I mean, we never have, but I think it's just important to remember that there are state laws that do govern the role of library boards too, and trying to make sure we're familiar and cognizant. See, there goes my words, they're done, of what those laws are. Talked a lot about hurdles. Having board members who are subject matter experts and how that can be a pro or a con. Because then you can kind of create a micromanaging culture if it's not done correctly. Or you can do like us where we love our subject matter people because they're proactive with it. Some library boards, advisory boards such as ours, have a teen-aged rep. I thought that was interesting, who's a voting member. Our charter by charter is 18 years or older. But I thought that was interesting. And when we consider and talk more about how we engage youth in our library, and the library decisions that are happening here. See, this is such fun stuff that I went to.
It is fun stuff.
Yeah, a lot. What I'd like to do actually is type it up and like have more better material for you. We just haven't had the time to it. The other one I went to was Friends of the Library. First, I want to thank this library board because I'm grateful to be in the statistic of supportive library boards and active and engaged library boards. And because to hear some of the challenges other libraries are facing, I couldn't even imagine. It's hard enough doing our jobs. It's harder to do our jobs when you don't have that backbone to keep everything moving forward. And the same was with Amazing Friends and Foundations. Again, we we are an incredible unit of humans who work so well here. Cause again, it was interesting when there's an element of finance involved. Maybe it can make people go crazy. I don't know. But there are some really unique situations where friends groups like hold the money basically over their library, or their charter isn't clear enough and their bylaws aren't clear enough and their memorandums aren't clear enough that some friends decide that they'll do whatever they want with the money. It was so eye-opening, and I'm really glad I went because I learned of all the what nots to do, where Friends is new to our group, and is recently reestablished, and all of those initial documents have been gone through with a comb and considered everything and what that looks like, you know, if so-and-so leaves, like, will things keep moving forward? So looking at those relationships with that lens, I think will be important, especially as people change and the roles. I was trying to notes on Friends actually, so I need to get this all typed up too.
Yes.
Again, a lot of legal discussion too, with that. Some success stories, Manzanita, which is a small library, part of a county system, they have 400 friends. So like it was really cool to
That's
like,
like half the town.
yeah, like it was really cool to hear like some of those success stories and like, we're gonna need to reach out to you.
Secret.
In one city, their friends owned the building that the library was in, but then eventually donated it to the city because they didn't want to keep up with the maintenance and upkeep and, you know, the bills. So that was interesting. Code of ethics, talked a lot about code of ethics. And then the last session I went to that I was going to share with you, that I went to for myself, was on AI. Again, though, I'm glad I went because a lot of the discussion was, it was basically a beginner's dump on, you know, what AI is and how it's impacting the communities, but then really what our roles as librarians are to help keep those conversations moving forward, but teach people how to use AI, teach people how to recognize AI. And there was a lot of discussion there, because there were people there who didn't know what AI was, all the way to like, that's what they do in their roles as librarians, is that type of work also. So a lot of diversity in the knowledge and the fields, but it was interesting. We talked a lot about the ethics of AI, and then also just really like how dumb AI is too. There's no better way to put it. Like people rely on it so much, but it's stupid. Like, and it can't give you the same result twice. Like it can't, it doesn't know how to. And it lies to you on where it gets its information. So it was
Information to you. It doesn't usually cite its sources.
exactly. So
Which is a pretty big problem.
it was really, I'm really glad I went to that session now because it was very eye-opening to see that, and especially as having a young kid in school right now, it's yeah, because you know, thank goodness we have books on our shelves. So it's like, else who knows where that's gonna go. So those were the sessions that I spent most of my time in. And then I walked away with this card that I really thought was valuable, and I want to get it printed off and probably give it to everybody, but Beaverton, one of the sessions I went to, Beaverton City Library shared this, and all the decisions that they make and the culture that they have created is, they call it equity every day. And it's keep these 3 questions in mind as you make decisions in your work. And they said they have this at all of their service points, all their staff have it, their board members have it, and they keep these cards accessible. And it's, when making decisions, whose voice is and isn't represented in the decision, Who does this decision benefit or burden, and does this decision close or widen access gaps? And I think that's a lot of the culture that we've been working towards here, especially this group when looking at policy, with the Friends group, talking about programming, and what the future looks like for our building, and then just that collaborative culture that we've created here in our library too. So I wanted to share that.
That's pretty cool.
Do you guys have questions? The next OLA is next year in April. It happens every April. It'll be in Eugene. So if there's an opportunity and you guys want to be considered next April for some sessions, it was frustrating. They didn't let us know which ones were going to be available for stream until the last minute. And then they changed several of the sessions. Because there were sessions we both wanted to go to that got rescheduled, we didn't get to go to. So it's really hard, like, it would have been really beneficial for like sessions such as the board member session and the friend session to be streamed sessions. Because then like,
Yeah.
you're not gonna have to go to an entire day or a half a day just to go to that one session. But then the sessions that were made available for streaming didn't make sense to me, so. So I don't know, I have some feedback to give to the committee. They're creating and asking for volunteers for their committee, and they'll have it formed by mid-June to start planning the Eugene OLA. So I've got some feedback to give them too. Cool.
Nice. That sounds amazing.
Thanks for letting us share.
Okay, now we can move on to reports. Once again, Sarah Foss.
You guys love listening to me talk, and I
Yeah.
have no words today.
Interpretive dance will work.
Yeah.
I may not have that in me either. So Thursday night, I can't remember who I told and who I didn't tell. So Thursday night, the city of Willamina hosted the city county dinner. And that's a big quarterly event. It rotates from city to city. We were actually on the schedule during my short stay as interim city manager, and I said, will somebody trade me, please? I don't want to plan this. So luckily Sheridan traded with us. So it came up to our turn finally. And Mayor Skyberg and city manager Bridget, they put on a heck of an incredible event, but it was definitely very staff involved. It was held up at the school district. We had close to 100 attendees from various cities, and so it's city administration, governing officials, and because Willamina is in Yamhill and Polk County, we invite from both counties, not just Yamhill County like a lot of our neighboring cities do. So it was an amazing event, but I think some of us just still haven't recovered from that event. Yeah, so I'm like, I think I'm still tired from Thursday night. So that's something that we had going on. Our museum exhibit, you guys, has probably been the most engaged program we've had in the library in 8 years. It's been incredible. I've got it tucked away right now for our board meeting. But I can't wait to look at the month end numbers. It has just been incredible. And we were very fortunate because the exhibit was supposed to cost us, what did I say it was? I don't
I
even
had just read the number too. I was just looking
Was
at
it
that there.
3.5?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, it was like a $300 exhibit, but because everything didn't work out to where everything was available to us up front, we got it for free. And the museum came and helped and set it up, and she's gonna come and help tear it down, and then we'll pack it up next Wednesday and ship it off to a library in Eastern Oregon. But it's just been incredible. The kids have loved it. We had 5th graders in here on Friday for a field trip. Monday, we had kindergartners. This coming Thursday, we've got 3rd graders, and then on Friday, we've got 4th graders. That's when we're all tired. I love you, teachers, but but they love the exhibit. They love because it's an engaging, interactive exhibit. And so we've had a few 5th graders actually since they came last Friday come in to look at the exhibit again, and it's really neat
That's
to
awesome.
see. Yeah, I'm really happy with the engagement level. And And kicking it off with the author visit was incredible. David Lewis, I could have probably listened to him talk another hour or two. He was amazing to listen to. Teen internships. So we had the State Library of Oregon internship grant for 220 hours. And then the school district was eligible, one of the first schools that were eligible to apply for the first round of summer learning funds. And with that, they had to collaborate with community partners. And they're paying for up to 600 more hours of internship for our library. So we've made job offers to 4 teams, and they start June 12th. We're really excited. So one will be a 300-hour position, and then we'll have 250-hour positions, and those are in addition to the 220-hour position. So one of those teams is scheduled to come to the board meeting next month. So that they can kind of have somebody present and talk about, because they're going to work as a team on the internship. I'm going to have them follow the guidelines of the state library internship so that they can all work together on a connected learning project and take some of their passions and create a program or project for the community through the space of the library. So I'm really excited.
That's awesome.
for that.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. They're all just really cool.
It looks
Like,
Because the internship laws, it has to be a learning experience, right? It can't just be it's
well.
not just labor. It's not
These
just
are
labor.
paid internships,
Mhm.
and it's up to the person who's giving the funding. So the school district, as long as it met what their age requirement request was, there were no other guidelines. And then for the state, they want theirs to be a learning experience. So we're fortunate that we have that flexibility, but I would like for this particular group to get a well-rounded learning experience, I think, out of it, and have more involvement in that process of connecting our library to the community and what that bridge looks like. So,
That's awesome.
the team dream team, I wrote that down. Staffing, so starting in June, Richard will be shifting over here a few more hours a week instead of the split with City Hall and library. So he'll work 16 hours a week over at City Hall and 24 hours a week over here at the library. And that's moving forward. So, and it starts in June. They approved that financial piece of summer staffing. And then library policies update. Yes, I have to apologize. So you guys approved policies 2 months ago. And I gave them to the city attorneys for feedback, and they did have some feedback. So I need to bring them back to you. I just couldn't get to them yet. So I'll plan on bringing those back to you guys in June so that you can look at what the attorney's feedback was. It's, you know, it's their lens. It wasn't anything that was completely crazy, or we probably could just be like, ours is fine. But I do want to provide that feedback to you guys and let you make those decisions since you guys approved those policies. And then after that, then I'll take them to the city council level. This summer, CCRLS is doing its very first library road trip. And the idea is to encourage our patrons to visit one of our member libraries. I know you probably can't see that. Very good, Kat. But when a patron visits at least 5 libraries, then they can turn in their road trip and for a chance to win a gift basket at the end of the summer. And most of the libraries, ourselves included, is contributing something from our cities to be in those gift baskets. So I don't have, yes, I do. At the city county dinner, the staff had these cute little key rings made up for all of the guests, and they say Willamina, Timbertown, USA, and they have Bigfoot on them. So I said it's small, but people would use a keychain for our portion of the gift basket. All right, before I talk about the next thing, which is building compliance, do you guys have questions on anything? All right, heavy lift. So you guys all saw my email, probably not you though. Chris hasn't seen my email because that email came out before Chris. So back in 2008, the city of Willamina applied for a temporary occupancy permit, which allowed them to move the library into the building. That process ended there. They never did the follow-up pieces they needed to do to get to change the use of the building and then to gain occupancy of the building. So we learned this because I asked the question for our occupancy certificate because I've never been able to locate it. And before the Friends, the Love Our Library group held any events inside the library, we wanted to make sure we had that posted somewhere. And Yamhill County came back and said, no, you don't have occupancy. So the building official and the fire marshals were very kind. They happened to be in town anyways, so they came by the library to give us some feedback and answer some questions. And in line with what the city and our local fire marshal has been doing to work with other community partners as they've been going through some similar processes, is they went ahead and said, of course, you can have your temporary occupancy, so we can work through the process. The process is landed in my lap though, so which is fine, it's okay, I just don't have time. But what'll happen next is I've started, I need to finish the floor plans for the building so that we can submit the proper paperwork to the city of Willamina. And our planner over there, Michelle, will help me with some of that. And then we'll be able to do the paperwork for Yamhill County from there, which will then trigger our building inspections. So there will be financial impact and there will be work that needs to be done. What that full list looks like, I can't say right now, and I really have no way of knowing for sure, but they did say some key things during their visit, particularly about our doors, about a window. The thing I've said for several years, and which is why we needed a new building, we're definitely plugged into too many outlets. We're maxed out, we have things plugged in we probably shouldn't have plugged in. So, and that's what kind of prompted the whole, we need a new library building, I can't plug anything else into this building. Well, turns out I wasn't wrong. So, well, those will be things that we'll have to look at when the time comes. Luckily, we're going into summer, so all of our programming, almost all of our programming is outdoor programming. So we're not gonna see large groups in the library anyways. So that buys me some time to get the paperwork done and maybe drag my feet just a little bit so then they can do their inspections in the fall, because I don't know if I have the capacity to go through that in the summertime. So that's where we're at with that. I won't have any updates for you guys before you recess for the summer. I just don't think that that's realistic. So I have been including Tyler and Capola in those conversations and inviting them to the meetings as library board chair and LOL president, so that they can help navigate that or at least brainstorm or what our next steps look like from that. Do you guys have questions about that?
They required you to hire an architect or an engineer?
No, and I don't know as though we'll need to. We're not doing any changes to the building. So I think if we were making changes to the building, we would probably have to. But the building is as it was, and it's not gonna be changing yet. Big dreams for this place.
Yeah, it sounded like the biggest changes they might ask for doors.
Yeah.
Or improvements to the doors somehow. but I don't really
You
understand
mean like
how.
exterior doors like this one with the big glass?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
one and that one over there, they were specifically looking at, but, yeah, they were very general in their feedback, not official, which was very kind of them, so it's kind of like, okay, what does that look like?
Yeah, it was very nice to give us sort of a heads up on the direction things might go. And it didn't sound, like, it definitely is not apocalyptic.
No.
Not get the kid.
But it's gonna be,
Yeah.
it's gonna be probably more expensive than anyone wants to be.
Which is some of the conversation I've been having with Bridget, because we have all poured a lot of money into this building, and, we'll have to determine what that breaking point is, like, is depending on what that price tag is, like, do we keep pouring money into this building? Or do we use this as an opportunity to say, here's where we're at, community, now might be the time that we need to start looking at some other options, but what those options are, we don't know yet, so. And it makes it easier to go after funding and grants, I mean, when you have a need that big, but, until they give us the list, we just won't know what that looks like, so.
And so have you had to think outside the box as far as, like you said, not having a lot of people in here? Like taking the books to places like, I don't know, summer programming that's outside, you just take the books there.
Yeah,
they
well,
can check out?
so the temporary occupancy they gave us was 49.
Oh.
So I mean, that's,
Not a-
we can work with that, mostly, we can work with that mostly. So, and I think as the weather is nicer, it's easier to work with that, than when, we have rainy,
Right.
awful days.
That's what I was thinking,
Yeah.
like you can take
Yeah.
things.
Definitely go ahead to the park.
Yeah, and we have our outdoor area right over
Yeah,
here too,
covered.
so there, we definitely have, options, and almost every single one of our programs for this summer, except for 2, are scheduled outdoor events, so.
Okay, good.
Any other questions about that? We love a good challenge.
Well,
If anyone can overcome it, this team can.
Yeah.
That's all I got, I think, and I hope.
I don't know why I have to be on 2 boards who are going through this.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully ours is a little
Yours is easy.
hurdle.
Yeah. I was
Yes.
gonna say,
It's just a small hurdle, one that can be jumped over.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can move on to member reports. I should have actually asked that we do a free comic book day report. Officially added, but I guess I'll do that here. Free comic book day was, in my opinion, a rousing success.
Yeah.
We've had 112 individual people come through the library, and a lot of kids were like in and out of the library all friggin' day. And our guest authors seem to have had a really great time. A lot of times when you do events like this as an author, when you're selling your books, it's always that's how you gauge if it's successful or not. And I know Kat Ferris, one of the authors, sold virtually all of her books within like the first couple hours, which was really shocking to me. Like, I thought maybe she would sell a little bit and it wouldn't be too big of a deal, but it ended up being a very good little event for her. And the other guy, oh my God, I should have brought my notes with me and I didn't even think about it.
I know,
Well,
Cause I
Was it
was
Will?
just
Will,
looking through
what's that
his.
his name?
well.
William, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, well,
he was just doing stuff for free, so he wasn't selling anything. And seemed to have a great time. What else? Oh, Garrett did 2 workshops, a children's workshop on how to make comics and a teens workshop on how to make comics. And I hadn't really thought about it beforehand. I sort of just let him work it out, but he planned like an hour and a half and a 2-hour workshop. And little kids sat there for an hour and a half,
Oh, yeah.
and like
Wow.
fully engaged in making
It was
comics that whole
wild.
time. It was really, really
Wild.
good.
It
Yeah,
was.
It was incredible. Yeah, the only thing we should have come up with was something for their parents to do during that time.
Lesson learned.
But yeah, it was really good. Oh, and we raffled off a ton of mostly action figures donated by, Carla's, late husband. And that was a huge hit. It was really great, and it was. This is the first time I ever worked on organizing an event like this, and it really was like everyone that was involved with it was so positive and energetic. There was no problems. I talked to Things from Another World, the comic shop in Milwaukee that sponsored the books. And I was like, could you help us order these books? And he's like, not only will we do it, we'll buy them for you. And then we got the grant from First Federal Credit Union, and they were very excited when they came out to give us the giant check. They just said that everyone in their office was really, really excited about the event. Yeah, the Love Our Library really kicked ass and got it done. And it was just amazing. It was just a great experience all the way around. There was not a single really bad thing that happened.
It was awesome. Thank you for coming up with that idea, Tyler, for the library. One of our counselors, Counselor Peterson and her husband came through that day. And she thanked me at the city county dinner for the library having events like that, because it was very engaging, lots of people. So
Yeah, and I think next year, now that some of the kids have seen what it is, like it might be even bigger next year. That was one of the things, Things from Another World. The first thing they told me when I went to pick up the books was like, let us know when you're ready to start talking about next year. So like, I think just about everyone's excited about doing it again.
Is that an annual like date? then?
It is a regular annual thing. It's sort of a comic book industry event that usually comic shops do it.
Okay.
Is it always the first Saturday in May?
It is always.
Yes,
Saturday.
yeah, right.
And the closest one that we used to have for Free Comic Book Day was in Kaiser at the comic book shop there, but he just passed away. And so they're selling inventory to close the shop up, so they won't be doing that. Yeah, it was just recent, like I saw it within, this week I saw that, so
Right,
yeah.
Yeah.
well,
yeah, that was where I learned about Free Comic Book Day myself.
That's right.
Right. Such a bummer, he was a cool guy.
Yeah, I didn't actually know him, but I've been in there a couple times. He wasn't old. He wasn't very old.
No, he had an accident, a personal accident.
Oh, yeah.
Yay. Free
So on
Comic
that
Book Day.
note. Kate Pola,
Oh,
you have LOL.
Well, unfortunately, we did end up deciding to postpone our museum after dark twilight at the or how did we term it? It was Library at Twilight event. In light of the building compliance issues that came, it changed the dynamics of the paperwork we needed to get done and insurance wise and with our event insurance, and just felt like it would be a rush to make it all happen and get it together. So we will look for, once we have a updated certificate of occupancy, continuing with our Library at Twilight theme, because we were talking about a murder mystery at the fundraising committee featuring the murder quilt, the Lamina murder quilt and all of that. So I think it was really fun. Yeah.
It's like fun, like-
Yes.
That was real fun.
So I don't know that that will be able to happen in this fall, but that's something we could definitely shoot for the following fall as a Halloween theme type of thing. So LOL wise, we've gained some new members. We're gonna have to get together as a fundraising committee and figure out where we're gonna go with here. I need to talk with you probably more on that. And yeah, we're pushing right along. We now have a building committee with Tyler, Sarah, Marion and I at the forefront to start looking at new buildings or how we go about
Figure
getting
out
a
how
new
to do
building.
it.
Yeah, contacting grantors and all that kind of stuff. And we will meet fundraising committee wise in July. I think that was the 14th, but I can update you
Yes.
again in June with the official date. And other than that,
Tell them to take.
Oh, blue bags, thank you.
Oh.
Yes, I knew I had one more thing. So we did participate in the Earth Week Give program through Bottle Drop. And with our blue bags, we were able to earn an additional 20%. I just got an email 2 days ago that said that they now have deposited the funds, so I'll have to look in and see how much we actually earned. But, folks, we were trying to push it out on social media, so I don't know if any of you all saw it, but, if you also donated from your green bag account to us during that 20% match period, that also we would gain additional funds from. So you can donate to us through your green bag program. You just gotta search for our nonprofit on the Bottle Drop website, and then you can donate directly that way. Or you're welcome to come here. We have the blue bags here and fill up a blue bag. It's already tagged, well, will be tagged for you, ready to go, and then I can either drop it off. I've been picking up bags here, or you can drop it off for us. So that is a great way for us to fundraise, I think, and we're looking forward to doing it again next Earth Week Give program, and then we can really focus our efforts on getting a lot of donations then, so. Yeah, thank you for the reminder.
I don't remember if we had the car donation thing set up at the last library.
We
board
did
meeting,
not.
Cause we have that.
Yes,
now.
now you are also able to donate cars to Love Our Library. This was something initiated and thought up by Tyler, actually, and he went through the process to find a company and donated his vehicle to our nonprofit. So that's the information. I think Marion was gonna get it up on our website, but it's cars.com. And you
Yeah.
can just search for Love Our Library. Do you want to share anything about the process or?
Yeah, how did it go?
It was really easy, like I called up, I went online, I filled out a form where you just tell them what car you have and what condition it is, and it took about 10 minutes to do that. And then someone called me within about 2 hours, and they were like, went over it with me and got a little bit more information. And then 2 or 3 days later, a dude in a tow truck showed up and took the car away. And then like 3 or 4 weeks later, I got an email that was like, we donated $190 to Willamette Public Library, or to the LOL.
Mhm.
So the
And-
car doesn't have to be like in working condition.
It does not. In fact, the car that I donated was like, well, it was on its last legs. You could start it and stuff, but you couldn't like drive,
Mhm.
you couldn't leave town in it, you know. So yeah, you can donate anything. I mean, if you donate a running car that they can auction off, you'll earn a lot more money for the library, but if it's just scrap metal, then one, it's really easy way to get rid of a broken down car that's in your yard. And two, that little bit of money goes a long way at the library.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most people do that,
Mhm.
that's all I can.
It's a lot of blue bags.
That's all I move it, yeah. That's good, I had to, have a tow company come and take a car away, and they gave me a little bit more than that,
Mhm.
so I'd rather have the library.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, they have to, like, the company that organizes it all takes a little bit of share, but they're a nonprofit also, so they're not like gouging.
Right. Yeah. Well, we thank Tyler for bringing that amazing program to LOL. And I thank you both for reminding me about blue bags and that.
Can I
think
mention the
that's-
Dolly Parton Hoot Night?
That
Yeah.
would be in, June.
June 22nd, so, a nonprofit up inside. Sarah, words, a nonprofit up in Portland, called Siren Nation. This is the 3rd year, that they, have adopted our library, as, someone to receive part of the proceeds for their Dolly Parton Hoot Night. And I'm gonna bring it up actually, because it would be a lot easier. Actually, do I have it up? Oh, look, I do have it up. Whoop. Doo-doo-doo-doo. So Siren Nation presents the 18th annual Dolly Hoot Night, a tribute to one of the greatest songwriters of all time. Saturday, June 22nd. Tickets are $20 general admission. I will be there in person this year finally at the event. Last year we weren't able to go after Carla lost her husband, and the year before that I was stuck across the street. So finally in year 3, I'm able to go, and then Love Our Library is working with the Wildwood to offer a stream at the Wildwood so that people don't have to go up to Portland. Or how I watched it the last 2 years, you can also buy a live stream ticket as well and just watch it from home. And as you can see here, they've chosen the Willamina Public Library, really that early literacy. So with the funds that they gave us last year, I was able to buy books off of the Dolly Parton Imagination Library book list to add to our library. What's really exciting is there was just an announcement made, I think last week, where the Dolly Parton Imagination Library is now available in the entire state of Oregon. So every child in Oregon has access to the Imagination Library now. So that's a great thing to also advertise as we're advertising Dolly Parton. And it also happens to be Free RPG Day. And Richie will be doing a program here at the library. Which he's been working on, and hopefully we'll have it to share with you next month, a Dolly Parton themed role play adventure. So that's really cool. So we're gonna make a whole day out of Dolly Parton in June, so. And then we can all write her letters and tell her how amazing our library is and ask her to come visit. So.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, we need a grant, Holly.
Yeah, that's right. As I'm just pretty sure she would be baffled if we sent her the RPG. Thanks on her.
Yeah, no context, obviously. Just this thing that has a lot of her.
No other
songs.
library, you may not steal this idea, so if you're watching this.
I'll
So-
be really slow with the YouTube releasing this one.
So it's just very exciting. LOL is like really up and running.
Yeah, thank you for those of you who have joined our friends.
I haven't joined yet.
I just did it pretty good though.
Yeah, you gotta race to get one of those. It's very limited.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta get on that.
I know.
Yeah.
So it's only more like 10 more spots, I think,
Yeah.
for original givers.
Just kidding.
Okay, was that everything?
I believe so,
Okay,
yes.
and Robin Onstock is not here. So we'll just skip that. Okay, is there any other reports? Or any input from the public? I don't think we have anyone from the public here. It's all private.
I'm new, but I
Oh,
have
yes.
something I'd like to say. There's a group sponsored and headed by Monica Setzer Phillips that is trying to arrange a monthly kind of advertisement report in the bulletin that is for arts and culture events. And what we want is for different organizations in the area, including the library. And then the bulletin is donating the space. We're hoping to get a sponsor to pay for it. But it would be a listing of any and all arts and cultural type events in the 3 cities in the West Valley. And if the library would like to be involved in that, all you have to do is say yes. And then I will find out what events you would like to put in there, and it will be put in on the 3rd Wednesday of every month.
Oh, great.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
I
Yeah,
don't
it-
even
it-
think that's something we need to vote on. I think.
I don't know, I just,
Yeah, then yeah.
okay.
Thank
And do you wanna liaise with that, Sarah, or do
You
you want
know
someone
it.
else to do it?
I'm on it.
Okay.
Actually, I'll probably pass the buck to that guy.
Okay, fair
Don't
enough.
tell him.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. I'll liaise the crap out of that for you.
We're gonna have to edit a lot of papers on this one. Time for that, you guys.
All right, then we can move on to covering the library board terms.
So I just wanted to put it on as a reminder for review, because technically we do have 2 terms that will open for recruitment, this summer. For the positions that Jennifer and Kat are currently in. And of course, you 2 are more than welcome to reapply for your positions. And then next month, as a reminder, in June, before we recess for the summer, we'll have to decide on a chair and co-chair position for when we return in the fall as well. So that's my placeholder reminder, because next month the board will need to request to recruit for 2 full-term, 4-year positions. And then, of course, our vacant position is now filled by Chris Starr. Thank you, Chris, for taking the last year of this particular term that you're serving on. Reminder done.
Excellent. Do we have any new business that we need to get onto the schedule? Nothing. Good. Future business, computer use, internet use, Wi-Fi use policy.
Yeah.
That's also sort of, I don't know, in my mind, A and B are related, the code of conduct also. Yeah, is there anything new to say about that?
I went to OLA and went to some policy sessions.
Yeah. And then I am still, thinking really, really hard about the collection development policy, but have not been able to make the time to work on it right now.
I will say, one of the best feedback that I got, I wrote it down because I really liked it for policies. Was make policies easy to read by the public and your community. So I think that that's something, and especially when we talk about equity every day too. And I think that that's one of the reasons why I wanted the collection development policy looked at, was because it's not easy to read. But then I also learned we should be reviewing policies every 3 years. No more than 5 years. 3 years is ideal. So another good reason to look at our collection development policy too, so.
Well, at this rate, we'll have it done in 3
Yes.
years. Okay, so here's where we have the public input. Do we have any public input?
No. But if you know of somebody who might want to come to these meetings, please invite them. I mean, but it definitely is open to the public. We're so good at what we do. They're like, we're fine. They don't come, so.
Calendar. You wanna give us that one, Sarah?
Yep, so Native Innovation wraps up Tuesday. We're packing it up Wednesday of next week to send off. We're wrapping up school field trips this week. And then we're in knee deep into summer. So we'll hire the teens. June 12th is their start date. That week, we add Fridays to our schedule, so we'll be open Fridays 1 to 5. And then with Richie coming over 24 hours a week, we'll go ahead and add those Saturdays 11 to 3 as well. So we are bumping up, is it to 32-hour service hours a week?
Yes.
I think, give or take. And that will be from that 3rd week in June, through either the 3rd or 4th week in August, as the teams start trailing off and going off to do their things into the world, and we don't have them anymore. Yeah, and if you're interested in volunteering at any of our summer programs, please reach out to Richard. I've got him overseeing, most of our programs are on Tuesdays or Fridays. some optional programming available on Saturday. And then we do have a couple of Wednesday evening programs as well, so. That's all. And then we take like September and October off here, so we won't be doing anything.
Yes. Rest.
We're going to Disneyland.
Disney.
All right, well, that does it. We did it, everybody. This meeting of the Wilmette Public Library Board is adjourned.